A week had passed since the world finally collapsed, and the fires that consumed the cities had died down, replaced only by silence and an endless, suffocating snow. The city looked less like a ruin and more like a grave, covered in a clean white sheet that hid the horror underneath. We were the leftovers, the ones who didn't burn and didn't turn, marching in a jagged line away from the skyscrapers and into the unknown. Everyone kept repeating one word, a prayer whispered into the freezing wind: north. The rumors said there was a base, a signal, or just a place where the cold was deep enough to kill the infection. I didn't believe it. You die faster when you're alone, and hope is just a different kind of frostbite. But I walked anyway, because standing still meant becoming part of the landscape. We found temporary shelter in an old farmhouse that stood like a skeleton in a white field. For a few hours, we pretended to be human again. There was a fire in a cast iron stove, the smell of old wood, and children sleeping without crying. But the peace was a lie. Just before dawn, we heard it, a soft, almost polite knocking at the door. We told ourselves it was the wind, but deep down, we knew the wind doesn't knock. When we looked through the frosted glass, we saw them. They were standing motionless in the storm, frozen solid but watching us with eyes that tracked our every move. We realized then that winter hadn't stopped them, it had only preserved them. When they finally broke through, they came in a wave of teeth and silence, shattering our brief moment of peace and forcing us back into the blizzard. The retreat was a blur of adrenaline and snow blindness as we ran toward the tree line, the forest swallowing us whole. We crossed a suspension bridge that looked peaceful, like something from a winter postcard, until the ice beneath the river began to crack. It wasn't the current breaking the surface, it was them. They were drifting beneath the ice, thousands of them, waiting for spring or a heavy footstep to wake them. We lost good people on that river, pulled down into the freezing black water, their screams cut short by the cold. We learned that beauty died fast in this new world, and that death doesn't always come from ahead. Sometimes it waits for you to walk right over it. Seeking cover, we took the railway tunnel, thinking the darkness would hide us. But we were wrong. The trains were locked from the outside, tombs on wheels, and the ceiling was lined with them. Bodies hanging like stalactites, frozen in strange, reaching positions. For a moment, we thought they were dead, mere statues of the old world, until one of them blinked. The tunnel turned into a slaughterhouse of echoes and flashing lights. We only survived because one man, a father who had lost everything miles back, stayed behind. He pulled the pin on a grenade and smiled at us as the blast door closed. The explosion tore through the dark, a brief second of pure light that bought us our lives, leaving him and the monsters buried in the dark. We emerged on the other side of the mountain to see it, the fortress. It wasn't a shelter, it was a scar carved into the glacier, a monolith of steel and concrete with a massive gate left ominously open. Inside, it smelled of ozone and old death. The screens in the command center showed the world before the fall, cities teeming with life, before switching to the reality of the present. We found the source of the signal in the central lab, the global pulse. It was a machine built by scientists who had died before they could fix their mistake. Outside, the horde was climbing the mountain walls, a swarm of black shapes against the white snow, shaking the very ground we stood on. There were 2 buttons on the console, shut down and boost. I didn't press the button because I thought it would save us. I pressed it because doing nothing felt worse than dying. The machine screamed and the ground shook as if the earth was taking a deep breath. A wave of blue energy swept out from the fortress, rolling over the valley and crashing into the horde. Instantly they froze, mid-step, mid-scream, caught in a permanent paralysis. We had bought ourselves time, perhaps one more sunrise. But as I look at the monitors now, seeing the frozen statues of the dead littering the streets of Paris and London, I know the truth. The machine is humming, ticking like a bomb. We are safe for now, but beneath the ice, the infection is still waiting, patient and eternal, for the thaw.